Hey, afternoon traders, and welcome. It's the Mohawk Forex scalping team, and yeah, welcome to another live stream to start our NFP week off, which will obviously be Friday. So a lot of fundamental news to trade for the rest of the week, starting today with the Chicago PMI and, more importantly, the consumer confidence, the central bank news, which is coming up in the next kind of hour or so, once we've traded around the US Open, which is in about 30 minutes time or so. We're looking at gold at the moment and US30, as always, scalping on our 3-minute time frame using our Axe trading grid system. And as always, if you want information on how to join the group and gain access to this system, have me as your mentor and learn about true scalping, then obviously go to the website www.mohawkforex.com. You can look in the description below in the YouTube channel. So thanks for joining us today, and we're going to see what pips we can bag in a fairly volatile market, which obviously we know COVID is in the news again. This new Omicron variant has screwed things up a bit, but we're still looking to trade at the moment in the same way unless some major news comes out, as the market on Friday, which we kind of avoided trading really, swallowed up lots of losses, and there was a bit of a rebound back on Monday, and today things are a little bit more leveled out. We'll have to wait and see. We always keep an eye on the general big news, hence why I've got Bloomberg always in my view, listening to it in case anything gets announced, of course. Biden is saying lockdowns are off the table, so that's pretty much good news. And what we're just trading at the moment, we're in our trade on. We just had the SP Schiller Home Price Index year on year and month on month, which was a worse than expected result. So as per usual, we go the opposite way with US30, and I'm just about to close 2 trades on the bar in US30, which I've done there. I've just closed those. I went in for the buy. We go the opposite way with manipulation on the before pre-market on pre-market. So we just got ourselves $120 there for a start, 38 and 44. Which I will just post into the group. The group, you get to see all the results and everything, and daily setups and everything that I do.
Access to people expanding their credit, so that will help their business. But banks are also still focusing on transforming their digital platform, and FICO helps with that as well. So those are the kinds of businesses that we're really focused on right now.
We can talk about the banks a little bit later around the open about. Interesting to see NASDAQ 100 futures almost fully recover. We fully recovered yesterday. We took another dip lower this morning, and now negative just 0.2% on the NASDAQ 100. Lori Calvasina out overnight with some research. This is what she had to say on the volatility. The nervous take we saw on Monday, in which tech growth and large cap outperformed, will be.
I just posted that, so as you can see here, look, there was the news release, bit of a range, and there's just enough of a gap there to scalp. 50 to 100 points. I was quite confident. I saw RSI, plenty look. Reach our overbought zone in which we like to get extra bonus trades in, and obviously with that news I was confident we were going to get a buy on that, so that's pretty good. Happy with that. Nice start to the session. And now we're just waiting actually for gold to see if gold goes the opposite way. Here we go, Schiller Home Index. Let's see if gold takes the dip or goes against us on the news here.
Sticking your finger in the air and telling your traders, back it up 15, 20 basis points, and if you can find credit, then great. If somebody's willing to bid. What we did find is that there was very few who were actually hitting that bid, so it was more marking than actual real selling.
US30 nicely. A nice tight range now in US30 before the open. And yeah, we're just going to end the trades on gold there. Bang, bang. And we're done there on gold as well. Great, 2 trades there. We got 44 and 23. So again, another nice win on gold, going with the news.
I think you would have a much more aggressive dip buying reflex. But now, the Fed is not going to change their stripes overnight. The Fed is going to stick with tapering. There's more conversation around accelerating that tapering. And in this environment, credit and risk is not going to like a higher cost of funds.
So that's it. That's the Schiller Home News traded there. So that was pretty good. 4 trades, 2 on US30, 2 on gold, and that was a total of, if people want to know, I mean obviously it depends on your account size. I'm just using I've got a $4,000 account size I'm using today on this session, and we're talking 44, 80, 100. We're talking about 200, 40, 80, about $220 there. We just earned on this to the news, on the buy on US30, and on the sell on gold. There you go. Look, it just touched our TP. Look at that. See, there you go. Look at that. That's all we need. These little moves, 100 points or so. Perfect.
Right now, the reflex in the market is definitely curve steep.
And now we'll just sit and wait, see how the market shapes. So we've got 20 minutes till the New York Open, and obviously what we really want is to take some buys on gold on the way back up, form a nice kind of W pattern, as you can see, second leg, and we will look for sells on the US30. Which is cool actually, because obviously with the COVID news and everything, you'd expect markets to take a little bit of drop on the open before rebound. This is all your COVID news, you can see here, and you can do this just on one time frame. I mean, it's the whole thing about this, our AX trading system. We've got a dashboard here giving us a bigger picture of what's going on. We've got the RSI, we're trading fundamentals, so we're not too interested in the bigger time frames because we're going with the fundamentals with the news. That's what's driving, and that drives whichever time frame you're looking at. Because if you're on a bigger time frame, you can't actually see these micro moves because you've got one big massive candle 4 hours daily or whatever, so you're never going to catch these moves because it's got to move that one big candle. So if you drop to the 3-minute time frame and fundamental trading, you'll get these little new spikes that you can embrace and learn to trade. And today we've had a good day already because we had some good wins in the Asian session. We did a few live trades and we did a couple of pending orders, which is very rare. We did actually get some wins on the board. So at the moment we've got our total green day, which is really, really good so far. And we've done about we've done about 15 trades or so today. And it's quite nice to see. But a little bit, we got 4 trades on the open for DAX. Again, there were the buys. We knew the market was going to rebound on the open. We jumped in on that. So now I'm just setting up for the open US30. Great, there we go. And we'll just keep an eye on the news, which I generally do. Futures are all well down, predicted, you know, 0.6 SP, Russell 1%, NAS is 0.18, so there's plenty of movement still. They're not overbought or oversold by any shake. Here's the news we're going to be looking at. We've got 30, so we've got the open to deal with first in 15 minutes, and then we've got the Chicago PMI for November, predicted to be lower than previous month, 67. Anything above 50 is still seen as bullish for the market. Obviously, it all depends on the result. Lower than expected figure could drive the US30 down, and pound against the dollar, you know, against the yen, whichever one you like to try and trade. I'll stick with the indices, but I do trade pairs as well. The kind of the fundamental way I trade moves better with indices. European markets come back a little bit because DAX was over 1%. At the moment, everything's positive for the NAS, the Dow, and the SP 500. Just looking on the chart, SP 1.3, NAS 1.8. So hitting that overbought territory. So it's ideal that we're looking to take sells. Looking for a push down. We're going to reset this TP now down to our points of interest line. Next line of support and resistance that we're looking at. Bring that in so we know that was the news event, so we're good for back testing. See here we've got a potential of a little drop. This is all we want to catch for the open. And again, you can measure this out before you take the trade and see what you're going to get. You can adjust it beforehand. 293. We're only looking for 100 points, and in fact, our flat baseline here, look, that's the perfect zone to aim towards. So we could leave this one running. You see now it's just pulling back now. We could nip in for a little sell. Gotta wait for our RSI to creep past our baseline up because it can bounce off this.
I think that it's hard to put your head around any narrative. Let's just be honest. We've had sort of a shift in, are we in some sort of stagflation fears moment? People were talking about that all day yesterday.
In crypto, you have a world of young people that want their own financial system and their own culture.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
I do think the emergence of this new variant makes stagflation a little bit more of a risk. The Fed's in a little bit more of a jam even than they were in before. So I do think this reduces the likelihood of increasing the velocity of the taper, which I think would have been a possibility, you know, I probably would have expected that if you'd asked me a week ago.
The Fed Chair Jay Powell preparing to testify on Capitol Hill alongside Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. The Fed chief addressing the Omicron variant, saying the following: the recent rise in COVID cases and the emergence of the Omicron variant pose downside risk to employment and economic activity and increased uncertainty for inflation. Bloomberg's Michael McKee joins us now. Mike, I'm wondering what he means by that last
It might affect everything, this. Interesting to see.
Well, I think what you have to do is go back and re-look at that statement from the Fed chairman.
That was the Schiller Home News. You can see, look, only just 19.1, 0.88, just slightly, but enough to move the market. That's all we want. Like I say, we're waiting on the Chicago PMI and the consumer confidence, so it should be good. And then we've got Chairman Powell, Jerome speaking, doing a testimony speech later on as well when the news comes out. A few more speeches, which we try to keep away from. And then later on, we've got our API crude oil, which is a nice one. Because usually on this one, we go opposite to the initial release on that one for oil. And tomorrow the news builds up even more. As you can see, we've got retail sales in Europe, we've got housing index in the UK, manufacturing PMIs in France, Germany, UK, ADP, which is the pre-runner to NFP, and manufacturing PMIs and more oil as well, which again we go with the EIA. So it's building up really nicely.
Even if they taper, they're going to want to leave rates alone as
ready for NFP on Friday. So again, my FX book is my choice of website. Again, there's loads out there printing the news. Once you've got one that's fairly accurate and quick.
How relevant the data is this Friday, Mike?
It's going to be very relevant in the sense.
Let's have a quick look at investing.com.
Out of it, or Omicron, or however you say it. That's the big debate.
Moderna obviously saying their vaccine might not be good enough against the Omicron, the transformer of COVID, a robot in disguise. Oil fell, which we caught last night in Asian session. We did a nice trade on oil and caught a win on that, which is really good as well.
Mike McKee, the data a few days away. Mike, thank you, sir. As always, how important is the economic data this week? The ISM on Wednesday, tomorrow, and then payrolls on Friday. This is what PGIM's Greg Peters.
Yep, payrolls on Friday. ISM tomorrow, that's right.
It really matters much this week, to be brutally honest. It's more around the rhetoric coming from Yellen.
That's the one. ISM manufacturing. This is the big one tomorrow.
To see what their reaction function is to the virus.
Let's focus on today. So this is medium impact news, but again, with the way the market is at the moment, we're looking for any kind of positivity to try and move things.
Back with us, Jay Pawlowski, Julie Bill, Henry Peabody. Julie, do you agree with that?
We're not in any positions at the moment. Everything's shut. Like I say, we did 4 trades there
I think we're going to
on that Schiller.
in a pretty emotional place where we're responding to
Have a look.
one CEO's comment
Hold on.
on vaccine efficacy and such. I don't think
See the bigger picture? Kind of W with inside the M.
with this
And
variant
bang,
in place.
topped out. And we're looking for this pullback.
So if the turbulence of it,
RSI, as I say, look at that, perfect. You see, look, just bounces off the RSI average line. That's why you don't take a sell. An aggressive sell, could be in and out, flash trade, flash scalp on that if you wanted to. But ideally, if you want to hold, you want to wait for this to break and break into the neutral zone before committing yourself to a sell.
Very concerned that this actually could finally.
There's no panic. Like I say, this can do whatever it's got to do. You got 8 minutes before you're entering trades just before the open, so you just want to bide your time.
And I offered you one thing. I'll give you the efficacy data for this variant, or you can have the payrolls report.
Futures hit by vaccine and Omicron concerns.
100%. 100%. And, I don't envy his job in the least. You have a pandemic, you have supply bottlenecks, you have so hard to explain behavior of labor markets, and you're expected to unwind one of the largest monetary policy experiments in history. So his job is hard, but we do have to remember that we have an improving fiscal thrust. Growth is relatively strong.
Gold, perfect. Gold, exactly with the news there.
So at the margin, I think what he's doing.
And again, there's our flat KG baseline look, and you can see price is going to pull back and hit that. So you could add that as your TP or just above the points of interest. Again, I just flashed in and out there for 100 points per trade. I expect this to pull back up, but you can see it's dropping down now. RSI's gone red. I'm going to find a little bit of support here. So again, I'm not jumping in on any trade.
On tapering, Jay, to have the flexibility that Henry just described.
Well, John, one of the things we haven't touched on seems to be leaching out of the conversation is the potential for Omicron to be better than expected and to be more transmissible and mild. If in fact it's more transmissible and mild,
This should was actually kind of there's that spike down there. Look, you see. You learn to identify these spikes. There it was. Look, so you can see that spike down, and there was your news. So you sold at the top here and collected all this profit. Excellent scalping. So now we're looking for a bounce off our trend line and our baseline for the open. We're looking for this ideally back to here. All that B back to there.
Mild, in which case, the Fed probably will go ahead and accelerate that tapering process. My view is that higher rates are bullish for
I want to be in and out on these trades before the next news event. Obviously, is what we're kind of looking for.
A year of some relative normality in 2022, some additional clarity. Supply chain worries are already ebbing. Energy shortages already ebbing. We start to focus on the traditional things that market participants look at, shift from liquidity to earnings, from growth to value, from bull market and bonds to bear market and bonds. That's the upside, I think, that we can look at. And look, whatever we give back now in terms of 2021 performance, we can get potentially in 2022. And therefore, thinking beyond the next 1 month, the next 3 months, the next 6 to 12 months, the opportunity set looks to be getting better, not worse.
I don't think the bear market in bonds is the opportunity or upside risk that Henry Peabody's thinking about right now, Jay. We can discuss that in a moment. Jay, Henry, and Julie sticking with us. Just on the taper, this from TD, agreeing with the likes of Jay that maybe this removes some of the urgency for the Fed to do something more quickly. The uncertainty removes the urgency for the Fed to announce a speed up in its taper and by extension
3 minutes to Chicago news.
We've been pulling forward rate hike calls and now over the last couple of days pushing them back out.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC. Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
We represent 5,500 forecourts, which is roughly 65% of all service stations in the UK. Of the ones that we were able to survey yesterday, roughly 1,500, 27% said they didn't have any fuel, 21% said that they had one fuel type or another, so that's either petrol or diesel, and 52% said that they were fully stocked. Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland seems to be okay, but we still are seeing, like your reporters are seeing, some stock outs at sites around London and the southeast, I'm afraid.
When do you feel confident that this will 100% be in the rearview mirror?
Well, what we're hoping is those people that got fuel over the last few days obviously don't need it again for another few days, and that will give us a chance to actually start to restock the network. So we're trying to get it back to a reasonable level today and tomorrow, and then over the coming weeks, because it will take a number of weeks, to get it back to the sort of more normal running levels.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the
A couple of minutes to go. And like I say, the high US30, you can just see it's on this minor resistance here. We just want to get 100 points, that would be nice. On the open, look at that, plenty. Doesn't even have to hit our major TP line here. I'm just going to adjust that.
5 minutes away from the opening bell in New York City. Equities recovering just a little bit. Futures down by 0.5% on the S&P. We're down 25. Let's get you some morning calls. First up, Bank of America upgrading Square to neutral, taking a more constructive stance after the stock's recent 25% decline. Goldman downgrading Dollar Tree to neutral. The analyst highlighted the stock's pricey value.
Again, gold already. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Look, wanted to hit and break this trend line for the open. Perfect. Got to go in about 1 minute. Let's see, because we'll get a little flash, and then obviously I think US30 is going to pull up. The next TP level is going to be here. Look.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest
And we're going up.
when we work
And gold.
At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between
Let's see. Reach here.
that matters. SABIC.
A nice little. That's just come out of our neutral zone, so it's perfectly positioned. You know.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
I'm just going into 4 trades.
When you
Fly.
put the garbage inside, there's a little sensor that detects the garbage and speaks out. And this is one of the initiatives that we have created here. We, as the residents of this neighborhood, a bunch of neighbors that have come together to try to deal with the fact that our neighborhood is dirty. We want to make it
1 minute to go.
We want to have a clean streets that look nice and are nice to walk in.
US30, or cheap gold as well, look. Be above there now.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest
RSI 56, to get that to 50, 57, 58 would be nice. Getting to the 60s would be good. Stop losses are below, obviously, any baseline or points of interest line. Easy to work out.
Via live and on-demand webinars, only from Bloomberg.
We've got about 1 minute to go still.
Start exploring Bloomberg.com webinars.
Mercedes-Benz is on a path towards CO2 neutral mobility. So we have flicked the switch there and really
Brilliant.
we're going to step by step electrify everything. And what does that mean? Combustion engines get electrified.
Instead of going alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together?
Just waiting purely on gold.
Between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
US30 dipped down. We're already out on US30. Yep, there we go. Look, hit our TP. There's the spike down. That's already done.
Your equity market is down 26 on the S&P, rebounding, recovering just a little bit from session lows. We're down 0.6%. On the Nasdaq, we're down 0.2, recovering. We're down 33.
Beautiful.
On the Nasdaq 100 futures. There's your opening bow. Switch up the board and get to the bond market. Yields down on Friday, higher on Monday, lower on Tuesday. Down 5 or 6 basis points on 10s to 144.26. Euro dollar. We need to talk about
Managed to get $140 on the open there, so that was US30 done. I'm just posting that.
Just short of 5, 4.9%. Euro dollar 113.67. Positive there, 0.7%. Crude 67.37. I said earlier on this morning, we're down in the way the administration might like it to be lower, but not because of the reasons the administration might like it to be lower. We're negative almost 4% now to 67.37. Around the opening bow, equities are lower by 0.6% on the S&P 500. Every single industry group on my screen is negative. We are led lower by energy, off by 1%, financials off by a similar amount. We caught up with JP Morgan's Jack.
Everything is negative. Let's just see if we're going to get anything on gold. Just waiting for this beautiful spike. Look at that.
Buy the dip yet, because I think this is a Fed that's going to remain on the reactive side.
That US Open, we said it'd be a sell, then a buy. Look at that. There it is, dipped down. It's a good thing. You could have gone either way. But I go with the way of the news, fundamental trading.
But I think that the challenge from that
Now we'll just wait for RSI. If it hits the overbought zone here, then we're back in for more buys. So let's keep scalping on this. Let's move this out of the way so we can really. Oh, there's a good opportunity here to
Negative rate environment, negative real rate environment.
bring that around actually because it was a sell.
We have
See,
earnings.
that's what we're looking at.
Sentiment and positioning, etc. I think the history of
Gold. Yeah, look at that. It hit.
is twofold. One, the economy.
If it pokes out of the neutral zone again, that's your buy time, remember. US30, I think I'm going to.
And I think given what I just suggested.
I'm getting on this again.
It makes sense. I think the question is really where do you buy the dip? Because the market, as always, is giving some specific opportunities, while others may look like opportunities but are really not. And as a global multi-asset guy, I talked about a golden age of asset allocation.
See if we get a push.
And I think we continue to be in that golden age of asset allocation. There are multiple opportunities.
That was a nice open. Like I say, just pick the one you want. Go with.
On Wall Street had this to say. While volatility
Obviously, make sure you use IC markets. Make sure you've got a broker that is good for scalping.
Risk-off event as a clear buying opportunity to own the tech winners for 22. Now, Jay, tech is.
Now look at US30 take off now. Yeah, that's great.
Theme, the cyclical till, Europe, Japan, and Asia feel to it. Where do the US tech players fit into all of that?
Yeah, they really
Look at push up. And we said there'd be a recovery. Here it is. The little sell on the news, and then up she goes. Look at that. Hit our TP. Move that now. We said we'd get the sell on the open and then the buy, and here it is. Look at that, right in front of your eyes. Perfect.
So that's really been our bet, and that bet has worked. The thematics have massively outperformed the FANGs this year. And by the way, so has energy massively outperformed the FANGs this year. I think that will continue to be the case. So look, my view, as I said, is the bond market is misreading the fact that the economies are able to operate through COVID. That is what has been proven over the last 2 years. It's only going to continue.
See if gold, wait for gold to bounce off here, or we'll take the sell. If it bounces through our neutral zone, comes out the other end, then we're looking to sell gold.
Stocks will underperform. Cyclicals will outperform.
Caught the buy on the open.
I think the real opportunity set is in Asia. which Japan was recovering. It's been the big laggard because of its lockdowns, recovering now into an Asian reopening. And then China. I think China is probably going to be one of the best performing markets, both debt and equity, in 2022. I expect a glide path year. They have a full policy quiver. Market has been bombed out. They have the potential to add monetary policy to support a weak economy. Yeah. I like both high yield, government debt, and equities. I'm pretty overweight China across the board. I think that's the real opportunity.
It's been a tough year in China, that's for sure. There were 2 trades in there, not just China.
Gold's bouncing. Gold looks like it's bouncing quite nicely.
For 2s on 10, 2% on 10. Now, Henry, I want to come to you on that because you talked about 2 on 2s. Let's talk about 2 on 10s.
US30 hit that, rejected off it. So what we'll do is wait for it to come back down and we'll go in for some more buys on here. We're just holding. I'm just looking at gold actually at the moment because gold's looking good. Yeah, it's bouncing, rejected off our trend line, which is nice.
I think we probably need to start to move in that direction. And one of the things I do wonder a little bit about, we've had this increase in inflation pressure.
We said it would creep back up again. Yep, there we go. Look at that beautiful little move.
Ad nauseum.
Gold.
Real rates lower. That's boosted equities. Now, what happens?
Excellent. We just closed our 2 buys on gold. We got 36 and 21. So we got another £60, about $80–90 there. Nice little scalp. We'll just post that. That came in really nice.
Risk assets on the credit side,
So to hold a couple of minutes there, wasn't bad at all. 5 minutes.
From a sector perspective, because you were talking about it earlier, and banks were brought up. That's been one of the main areas of focus for us. Banks represent, we think, pretty good value versus industrials. On a ratings for ratings basis, you're picking up yield, you're picking up liquidity, you're picking up quality.
It's all based on, you know, the news was bad, so gold goes up, and that's what we're looking for. A little bit of manipulation around here. Always the way. That's what you've got to get used to as a scalper. And once you get used to all that, then you don't panic.
So that for us is a good place to be overweight.
And so we're done on gold at the moment. US30. Have a look what we're going to get on US30. Is it going to get on here or anything at the moment? No, nothing yet. We've got no positions open yet. We did the gold. And we're waiting for US30. If it breaks the neutral zone here, look, then we're going to be in a sell. We're going to get back down again. It's going to eject off our support line here. The open would sell. So this is again, here's your manipulation, which we just caught a bit off. Or pushing back down on the sell again, and obviously all the bad news. So both TPs hit. We hit on the open. We hit on after the open.
South of 144 this morning, the lowest in more than 2 months, and it's taken the banks down with it. What we're looking at here is that Treasury yield in blue, and in white, it's the ratio of the S&P 500 banks.
And now we're just going to wait for the PMI.
We see the banks losing their relative strength over the last several months, and at the same time, technology has found a firmer footing. That's been the story really over the last 6 months or so.
6 minutes to go to the Chicago PMI. 6 minutes to go.
Index, a great gauge for big tech in particular, is up about 17%.
And you know, it'd be nice if it's better than expected. Let's see.
Is only up about 10%. So the outperformance there for big tech as people maybe look for a little bit of defense, a little insulation.
I'm going to post these news into the group.
Favor for those richly valued stocks, John.
Kelly, thank you. That industry group suffering a bit this morning. S&P 500 more broadly down 0.75%. Some outperformance on the Nasdaq. We're negative there, just 0.4%. On the banks, here's Wells Fargo's Mike Mayo. Betting on some of these names and writing the following. We still expect banks to grow book value, increase core earnings. The new variant shouldn't derail efforts by the industry to embrace and facilitate the recovery unless vaccinations fail to effectively protect from the new variant. Remains to be seen whether that's true or not. Julie Bill, can we get your take, your view on that industry group right now, on the financials, on the banks?
I think that the long-term outlook for financials is pretty positive. I think it's hard for us as investors in trying to find really differentiated businesses to focus on banks because there's not a ton of differentiation there. So I would actually prefer to play a technology.
Let's see if US30 bounces off our line here, then goes back up again.
Where I think they have lots of positive
They can zoom out, we can see the overall, what we're looking for, yeah, where the nice M topped out 2 times here, and then obviously all the COVID news dropped, came up, formed the center of our W, kind of a second leg, hasn't really formated, rejection, now back again, so we're still looking for this. This is our ideal zone. This is where we want to get
It's a
to.
really interesting space. The problem with payments is that
Load all this up. There you go.
Competitive place, and it's a scale business. So, you know, as a
So that's the bigger picture away from the micro scalping. We're looking for this
investing in the payments
35084 on the buy.
because these are really genuinely scale businesses. They're very disruptive, and there's a lot of opportunity in front of them.
Jay, I want to come to you on that, on the bank specifically. As you look across to the rest of the world,
Just waiting now. If RSI crosses our average line here, then we're in for buys. I've got 5 minutes on the news. Let's see what the news does as well. We're just settling in.
European banks specifically through EUFN, which has been massively oversold. The RSI on a 14-day basis is down around 20, so significantly oversold. And on Friday had the biggest down volume day since COVID began. So to me, that's a real opportunity. I also note that Morgan Stanley and others have upgraded the Japanese banks recently, and the Chinese banks have also seen recent buy.
Got 3 minutes to go.
By the big research firms.
Like I say, it'd be nice if it beat last month as a surprise. 70, push the market up. If it's below, obviously we're going to go in for sells. Quick flash sell. And vice versa, if you want to trade gold, I'm going to stick on US30 on this one.
I think the European banks offer some significant opportunity.
There's gold look positioned perfect. We said there'd be buys on the open. There they were. Hit TP, not a problem at all. RSI just nicely above again. We'll get another buy on gold if we hit our 75 zone. Let's wait. We've got our breakout zone as our next level of TP. Look. The price goes up. You can see here. Look.
Talk to me about it now. Given what's happened this year, and given that you can wake up at any moment and China can decide, the Communist Party can decide what your returns are going to look like, maybe, for the downside next year.
Oh, I don't think that's the case, John. Look, I think there's uncertainty everywhere, as we've just been
See Sheila Holmes, both expected, pre-market go with the news, US Open go against the news. All about learning the market structure. And that beautiful bouncing off our X system as well, giving us some nice support areas for gold. We need to wait for it to break this trend line, RSI poking up, and then we can get some buys in again. And it depends on the news. If the news again is worse than expected, we're going to buy gold.
August, based on Evergrande. Remember Evergrande? It was going to ruin the global economy. Okay, it was an opportunity to sell. And your point
2 minutes to go.
Is that anyone who's wanted to sell Chinese equities has had every opportunity to do so. And thus,
US30 just pulling back a little bit. Let's get the good news going. Let's be positive here. Have some good news.
Currency up against the US dollar. So you can buy local currency debt, high yield debt, yielding 10% in dollars. You can buy Chinese
Over a minute to go.
Yielding 3%. Their 10-year is at a 3% yield. Ours is at 1.4. You can buy the local government debt. You can buy the dollar-denominated high yield debt. You can buy the equities. China sells at a 20-year relative low on a valuation basis to the United States equities. So here in this environment, I like to look at the laggards, right? I think buying technology in the United States right here will prove to be, over the next 6 to 12 months, a massive mistake. I think the opportunity is to go and look at things that have already been beaten up and buy those, and that's China.
Never mind. Remember Evergrande? Remember that earlier this year? I mean, that one truly was transitory. That one faded to the background. Guys, before you go, Henry, I want to come to you on this because I think it's important. We started to see credit spreads widen out.
Sage ranging a little bit. It's also waiting for this news and the consumer confidence. The consumer confidence is expected to be worse than last month, predicted. So again, if these go the opposite way, would be really nice. A bit of a surprise to the market. Let's hold on to our hats and get ready. 40 seconds to go. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. Let's log in.
I was having a conversation with another portfolio manager at MFS yesterday, and he wisely said that the exit door gets really small. And when you look at the behavior of the primary markets, you look at something like an increase in the BDC issuance, which says to me it's fairly late cycle.
30 seconds.
The question is was COVID a cycle or not? And I think that lack of liquidity combined with some frothy issuance, which completely evaporates when you have a backup in spreads. But I think that is signaling to us that asymmetry is to the downside. And at MFS, we really like to think long term. And for us,
wait for this
taking
result.
that risk right now is not the right risk to take. When liquidity risk, for example, is dear and there's value there, that's
There
when
is
we'll
liquidity.
use our collective wisdom to do so.
I just had to balance out some of Jay's equity bullishness with some of Henry's more credit cautiousness. Jay, it's good to see you. Henry as well. And the wonderful Julie Bill. Julie, thank you, as always. Coming up on this program, inching closer and closer to that December deadline in DC.
They're going to have to vote on really contentious issues. The SALT deduction, nobody really wants to talk about that on the progressive side, but moderates.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges?
US30 looking to push up. Gold, yeah, beautiful. Look at that spike on gold. Perfect. On that PMI news. Perfect, look at that fly. Get ready for the retracement on it. Gold, we just got $200 on gold there. Going in on US30.
A young woman that's watching this wants to be the next Diane von Furstenberg. What would you recommend?
We're out on US30 as well. Perfect. What a scalping session. Woohoo. So we've got 12, 19, 22, 48, 45 and 40 on. So I'll just post all that. That was great.
Parent company of Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp. All right, perfect.
So 40, 80, 120, 160, 182, $270 there. Bang. Done.
Sort of mix of augmented and virtual reality worlds which will let the user explore virtual ecosystems. Much of what he showed isn't yet available. It's really his vision. In that sense, it was more like the presentation Elon Musk does, where he looks at what he hopes might happen one day than what Steve Jobs does, which Steve Jobs did, showing off products he already has available. He also, in the course of it, announced
that was beautiful.
To Meta. The company will be called Meta from now on.
Our mission remains the same.
That.
It's still about bringing people together.
Togo PMI way worse than expected.
Show the vision for the future, but also a way of casting and addressing some of the toxicity associated with Facebook. But if this new company is going to be a success, or the new company vision is going to be a success,
so buys on gold and sells on US30. Of course. Easy.
Biggest challenges when we work together. At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Come on,
I noticed that.
Do you think I need a lift? Is it time?
What about me? What did that particular gentleman say about...
I love the Chicago PMI. It moves the market.
The other has an ego in the orbit of Mars. Who's that?
I had no idea.
Mrs. Lisa, the only chance to productive conversation. It's a fairly accurate summary of this show, isn't it, Tom?
The eyes, or should I do the whole thing?
So drop on US30.
Senior witness officials have been in close touch already over the last several days on moving our Build Back Better agenda forward. I was meeting with Leader Schumer's team last night, so I can assure you we are moving forward full speed to get this done, and we expect action on it in the coming weeks.
The Biden agenda facing yet another hurdle. SALT negotiations faltering. Senator Menendez blaming the snag on Senator Sanders, saying the following. We said we believe the SALT should be whatever.
Easy scalping on that news event. Nice and easy. Way worse than predicted. You know, 10% thereabouts. So we went for sells on US30. We went for buys on gold. And look at that. Easy. Smashed our TPs. Re-entry on gold.
Jonathan, this has just been a story that won't go away. As we've been discussing, it's really symbolic of how little progress has been made on reconciliation.
XM, we're just closing another one out as well on there. Perfect.
We knew it would come back to the House eventually, assuming that it will in very different form. This is a real sign that they've got a long way to go, even as Chuck Schumer hopes for, and in some cases promises a vote by Christmas. But
and now we're waiting for the consumer confidence. Here we go. 9 minutes to go. And that'll be the end of our trading for today.
Aside from reconciliation, social spending, infrastructure, and so on. Number one, Friday, that's when government funding expires. We do expect a short-term solution, another kick-the-can solution. The question is how far, maybe mid to late January. And then, Jonathan, we've got to deal with this debt ceiling matter. Originally, we were set to or expected to hit it on Friday. It looks like it'll be somewhere between the middle of December, January. But as you know, this is not about sticking the landing. They need to figure this out before we get to the cliff.
Joe, thank you. As always, looking forward to Sound On Bloomberg Radio, 5 p.m. time. We will hear from the president a little bit later on today.
US30, look at that, beautiful.
In response to it. On that, in this equity market, here's Abby.
Well, John, you know, with this
Going to be entering sales, more sales on US30.
Seeing the travel trade decline right here. If we take a look at the airline and cruise operators, we're going to see solid declines, down more than 1% and 2% in some cases. Not plunging, but nonetheless risk off.
RSI's 40.
Hotels down as
Could
well.
get down to
Airbnb down just fractionally, but you
maybe about right now, and then pull back. We'll try and get some buys in. We're just going to wait for the consumer confidence news, obviously.
Oil down 3 days in a row at Friday's lows, down 14%, below the 200-day moving average. Long-term buyers
111 predicted to be.
Very similar reaction to early 2020, suggesting that some traders are fearful. It'll be
8 minutes to go.
OPEC reacts to this along.
Easy again, high expected, but positive, and vice versa. We're looking for something, you know, different, obviously, to 111. Want to be below 110 mark to take some sales. Or above last month for buys, ideally.
Trying to figure out how to play this new variant, John, and right now, stay at home, not benefiting in the way that some might expect.
It's going to take a while, Abby. Not what investors want to hear, of course, but we need to wait for that data. The equity market is lower by 0.75% with the sector price action. Here's Kriti Gupta.
Well, good morning, John. You just heard Abby talk about the normal winners not actually performing today, and it's a similar story when you talk about healthcare in particular. In fact, the movers that were leading the S&P 500 higher, they're actually leading the market lower. I'm, of course, talking about Moderna. On a sector basis, though, you see that defensive outperformance a little bit. Tech at the top of the leaderboard, those yield-sensitive stocks, financials, for example, at the bottom. A lot of this, though, the broad decline, whether it's on a sector basis or on an index level, has to do with the efficacy of the vaccine, Moderna in particular, especially as well, as some of those drug makers, those COVID antibody cocktails from Regeneron, from Adagio, from Eli Lilly, all declining today because, John, we just don't know how we can deal with this virus and what's coming next.
I'll keep repeating it. It's going to take a while. Kriti, thank you, as always. That's the equity market. Bring up a bonds board quickly, 2s, 10s and 30s.
Be true.
This equity market's been all over the place. One way Friday, another move Monday, another move Tuesday. Another way in the bond market on 10s Friday, yields lower, aggressively lower. On Monday, yields higher than lower.
6 minutes to go.
But one thing has remained the same from Friday, Monday, Tuesday. It's this bid in the front end of the yield curve on 2s. On Friday, down 14 basis points. On Monday, down 1. On Tuesday, down another 3 basis points. The game has changed a lot in the last 3 days when it comes to Fed rate pricing. And it hasn't been whipsawed Friday, Monday, Tuesday. It's remained the same. It's just kind of stuck there. I find that interesting. The front end of the yield curve is being so anchored. We'll hear from the chairman at about 8 minutes' time, his testimony through the day. Then on to December 15th, there is a view out there that maybe we've had to push back those rate hikes or that debate around those rate hikes after pulling them forward. 2s at 46 basis points. One to watch in the bond market. Coming up, the market moving events you need to be watching. I'll get you your trading diary. Your trading diary into the weekend in just a moment. From New York, this.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, We believe the chemistry between people
Beautiful and gold. Look at that.
that matters. Sabic.
Gold re-entry here. Look, the buy was here. Second buy was here. Bang. Heavy resistance, so we can probably get some sells in on this. Wait for that to pull back. Down into the 20s.
Today's CFOs are reshaping the C-suite, positioning companies to meet the next generation of challenges, breaking out of traditional roles to become Chief Future Officer. This week, find out how Leni Oberg is helping Marriott transform itself at a pivotal moment for the hotel industry.
Part of our job is to make sure, what do customers want?
Oh.
What are they thinking that they want?
We get there 18 and 11, so just like $40 there. That was all right. Just a quick flash in and out on the sell on the wick of that on gold.
Are you starting to see things improve? And if you are, where specifically, sir?
Well, this year we have been mostly affected by the semiconductor situation, and we believe that the quarter 3 was the quarter that was most affected.
I'm waiting for the news.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At Sabic, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters.
Heavy resistance, as you can see now, look on gold here, so that's why I put the sells in. I would enter more sell. Obviously the news is very close.
Efficacy data on the vaccine against this new variant, or the payrolls report on Friday to make some investment decisions. I think you're going with the former and not the latter, so I wonder how much we de-emphasize the payrolls report into Friday. Going into that, equities are lower. About 26 minutes into this session, we're down 0.6%. We've been whipsawed Friday, Monday, Tuesday. This morning, at least for now, we're lower. That's the price action. Let's get you the trading diary. What you need to be looking for. Fed Chair Jay Powell, Secretary Yellen testifying before the Senate. Top of the hour. Plus, more Fed speak through the day. Williams and Clarida leading the Fed speak today. President Biden delivering remarks at 10:45 Eastern.
There's a drop on gold. Look at that. See, as I said.
Chair Powell, Secretary Yellen, day 2 in front of the House tomorrow. Plus, we'll get ISM manufacturing numbers. Another round of claims coming on Thursday. And finally, we wrap up the week with the payrolls report this Friday. 550K, your median estimate.
Instead of
550K.
don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's
2 minutes to go.
challenges when we work together? At Sabic, we believe the chemistry between
My
people is the
Facebook
chemistry
pane.
that matters. Sabic.
Yeah, 550K. Everyone's in agreement. The consensus slightly higher, so it's going to be interesting to see. Right, 2 minutes to go, and then we've got Chair of the Fed speaking as well. Always good to watch this. Try not to have any positions open, especially on gold. But let's see what result we get. We're looking for a worse than last month. 111 against 113 on the CB Central Bank Consumer Confidence Report. As you can see, US30 just pulling back. Chicago PMI. Yeah, look. Out of the way. Then keep us in the chart so we can back test and see all our results. And see which news events move the market and which do not. That's the most crucial thing. That's what you have to learn.
You're suggesting they may not be there for forever, but nevertheless, talk to me about what you
Get ready on gold and US30 again. So we get a quicker result this time. US30 always a bit slower to react to the news, remember. 1 minute to go.
So I don't see a difference in the competition. I think we've all focused on Heathrow as the major hub in the United Kingdom.
connecting, of course, the US, New York, Los Angeles, and other locations. So I see this as a continuation of competition. We've been waiting for the day that we can compete strongly in the marketplace after such a long period of time where it's only been one directional traffic from the US to the UK, and now it's open to UK nationals.
You mentioned Heathrow. What about Gatwick?
We made a very tough decision in March of last year to really focus our efforts at Heathrow.
30 seconds to go. Let's see what we're going to get. All set up. US30 just starting to enter the neutral zone, really wants to break our average line for a buy here. It's good news, and obviously gold should drop. There we go, and it is worse than expected, so that's pretty good. So worse than expected, let's go for buys. And US30 should be a sell.
When the cases are so low, they're barely detectable.
Just closing them straight away. We're in and out there. Gold, that was good. The gold, beautiful. That was the buy on gold. Look at that spike.
Months after Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico is still in
perfect.
Huge swaths of the island are
gold was a buy, US30 was a sell.
Access to medical care. Experts estimate it will take years before these services are restored island-wide. Much of the blame has been placed on FEMA for a slow response in comparison to recent disasters on the mainland.
That's what US30's doing.
This complexity and scale has proven
So we expect it to drop here.
And filling the gaps between an overextended public sector and a suffering populace.
It always takes time. It was a good result because it came out pretty swift, that did. Let's take a TP level of that. I'm going to be looking for it to break here.
This isn't his first time in a disaster zone. With the military and telecom
pushing down now, look, you think?
Repairing damaged cell phone towers in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina.
Profit now on it, that's good.
A disaster capitalist, seeking lucrative government contracts for his expertise. But as Anderson finds himself,
Wait for that to push down a bit more.
He and his associates are developing a variety of pro bono recovery projects that target the island's hardest hit areas.
I see two
Didn't even see what we got on gold there, sorry. 33 and 35, so another $100 there.
Basic services are in place. They're able to get food, they're able to buy.
There's the gold buys.
And when you look outside of the San Juan area, you can go 15 minutes from here and find areas that are devastated. I'm working on the devastated stuff.
Today, he's put together a boots on the ground mission.
There it is, look, consumer confidence was 109, so I said below 110, perfect.
Is one of Anderson's business associates. He offered an extra car and a set of hands.
So we received an initial report from a nurse that was out in the area. We're headed to the northeast region of Utuado for some people that are in need of urgent medical assistance.
Dr. Sally Priester is a physician from San Juan. She filled a van with medical supplies at her own expense and brought along a team of nurses. Google Maps estimated our first destination to be a 90-minute drive. But it didn't account for obstacles like this.
So we should be done trading nicely. Let's have a look. US30 still, yeah, still caught in the range, still in the neutral zone, it's fine. Was waiting for Fed.
His roof was blown off by the storm, and he's been living alone
talking as well.
for nearly 2 months.
His cane actually got broken in the storm, so he's limited mobility. He has a number of medical ailments. Dr. Priester's got him looking at him. We called the VA. They're going to get him set up with what he needs, get him stabilized so he can be transported either to an evacuation center or off the island. It's when the chain gets broken, when those families that are connected to them leave the island or take off. These guys get left at the end of the road, and it's tough.
FEMA was not officially part of Robert's team, and their arrival caught everyone by surprise. Their job
See pulling up, so we're just going to wait on that. So we're not in anything on that. We're just waiting on this.
People think that FEMA is there to...
Look at that for gold. Look at that, perfect.
FEMA has a role to play. They have a very specific role. They bring in ships, they bring in airplanes, they bring
And see, when you've got no other outside extenuating news, you know, major on gold, it really does go with the news. It really does fly, well, with it, I mean against it. Whichever way you go, you know how we trade it. But with US30, it can always be volatile and go against you for a bit. But with gold, you know, it's easy wins on all these news events. Look, Schiller, US Open, cargo, consumer, you know, that's just a good. And it's hit our TP, look at that, perfect.
Word of mouth.
Just as we mapped it out.
Ghost in the machine. I'm lucky enough to be able to communicate with folks in FEMA, the state of Puerto Rico.
For a ghost, Robert makes his presence well known. Not only was he the de facto leader of the mission, now with FEMA in tow, he created his own maps to survey storm
The
damage.
gold is done. I've done my bit on gold now. We'll see what happens with US30. If it passes the average line, we could be in for some more buys. If it comes back down, we'll look for more sells.
Actually working for them. And it's these
Consumer confidence.
operate more efficiently than an NGO or a
There was our spike down. That was it here. Look, you can see.
Resolve problems at a different level.
Just a little spike down right on our points of interest line.
Our next stop was on a mountaintop, a family of 11 struggling to care for their special needs brother in what was left of their house.
Right up so you can see. Just watch price action on this now.
The patient has Down syndrome. He is
Ready to go either way, so that's fine.
The patient cannot be alone. The most important thing is
There's the result, as you can see, 113. Well, they even predicted 109, so worse. And we've just got the yelling and Al speaking.
Maybe 54 days. It's not getting better. And the only way that you can be able to see that is coming to
Brilliant,
the
we just
ground,
took
and see the people and talk to the
buy. Get out these buys, brilliant.
You see San Juan from here.
Yeah, just got 23 and 15 on US30 there. 2 buys on that, in and out again. I'll just post that.
On this stop, we caught word that a man living alone at the edge of the jungle was in need of care.
So we decided to take a little detour up here and check out and see what's going on. One of the challenges is to find those people that are at the end of these roads that need help.
In and out again, that's what you want. There we go, look, there it is. If it rejects off our trend line now. Just count up today's trades.
I'm asking about why he's alone right here. He said things in life happens. You know, I'm here by myself. So ¿dónde vive acá? En la parte de... This is not a job. To do this,
There were 30 trades today.
for what you can do.
30 scalps, 30 positions, whatever.
It's said in disaster response and emergency response that the real first responders are
And like I say, we're still looking for a bit more yet. Look.
to go out and do good and to help the community.
And do you feel like you're making
Let's see if this push has hit our resistance zone. As you can see, look. Like I say, as soon as you see these blue zones appear, I usually end trades if I'm holding anything. Means it's kind of respected, and you can see it had a wick. It had 2 rejections of previous candles here, and a 3rd one just now.
whether out of altruism or the lure of a
RSI just about to break, trying to break our average line here. Look, so might push a bit higher.
Puerto Rico's essentially been a colony for 400 years.
This is our heavy resistance. This is the big zone we'd love to try and scalp into. If this candle can break our trend line, I'm just going to reject.
Continue in the way that it's always been, or Puerto Rico can rebuild itself like nothing that's ever been.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
So at 10 AM in New York, and we've already done best part of 30 trades, and we're definitely done for the day. But we're just going to see if we can grab extra buys or sells on US30. So access while the speech is happening, just looking to see if there's anything. Alright, it's gone flat at 63. NAS has pushed up nicely as well. USD has come back to 0.6. Pushing back up, look, 64. We did have the divergence here, look. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, and it did drop. Again, another nice little indicator that works quite well. There is a hidden bull look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up it goes, and again 5, and up it goes. You know, so this works nicely. Again, here, look. Again, the sell here. You know, they're quite nice, these little. If you struggle to draw divergence, the ACK system puts these in automatically for you. It's always a help. The news was printed. Wall Street opens lower on Omicron, Dow down. Yeah, pushing back. It's going to push up back up again to the 34960. Market's been pretty rangy for the last couple of days, really, though, and then just that big drop. And now it's ranged again, dropped a little bit more, pushed back up, rejection. You can just see the pattern and the movement. Even though I'm zoomed in on here, on the other chart, I'm zoomed out on the same time frame, and you can sort of see the pattern overall. What's happened? Came down, ranged around, came down a bit more, tried to pull back. There we go. After a range down on the Omicron. Ranging, indecision, don't know what's going to happen, bit more bad news, down again. We're just looking for some little corrections, and we're sticking with our breakout zones that we've got. Here's our breakout zone top here, green dots, here's our breakout zone here, so we're trading within our breakout zone, scalping within. RSI rejected, you see, didn't break the average, didn't, tried to, came back in.
get married in India every year. Unlike their parents' generation, they're not from two close villages, but from two cities on opposite sides of the country. And their love didn't start through community matchmaking.
There you go, I'm just about to put that line there as the line it's going to hit, and it's done it.
Online.
So we met through jeevansati.com. So it's basically
We rejected off it. Let's see if it breaks in, goes red, and we'll get in on some sales.
It makes a lot of remote profiles who are located in distant areas more accessible.
They're just making for a move. It's tight at the moment.
Matrimony websites and apps in India are starting to disrupt the matchmaking industry. More and more people are finding their partners at the click of a mouse. jeevansati.com, where Anshu and Sumit met, is one of the biggest players. Young Indians looking for love set up profiles including their caste and horoscope, but their criteria for choosing spouses appears to be changing.
We have seen the shift from traditional caste community conservative parameters to something like which is more focused on education, employment.
Anshu and Sumit's marriage was initiated by their parents, but modern Indian couples like them have more input than previous generations.
We looked up to them to agree for the proposal, but it was primarily our decision that we wanted to be with each other.
So what's the emoji like you use the most to send to each other?
So there's a bear which basically we use for indicating a hug.
Yeah, that's our language basically. Bear icon for a hug.
Again, rejection
When you're in love and just
off the neutral zone. So again, you're just in a holding. Again, this is the thing. People think scalping 3 minutes is quick all the time. It is necessary when you need to enter the trade on the news events and on the open. But overall, you've got to do a lot of waiting. We've got to wait for this setup. There's no need to rush.
Celebrations and involves the entire two families and hundreds of guests. Luckily, there are websites and
We're 65% bullish on our dashboard, bullish and rising. So still looking for a push on back up to our resistance zone, as you can see there.
Startups like the Wedding Brigade are challenging traditional wedding planners in this $50 billion industry. It provides various services from booking banquet venues to buying wedding gowns. The website makes money by charging commission from vendors.
People don't want to be limited to what is available around them. They want to know the entire range of options available before making a decision. And now it's easy to find almost everything on one portal.
Anshu and Sumit are officially married in a ritual that has gone on for thousands of years, but their love started in a very new way. Technologies might be changing the way couples meet, date and get married in India, but they're definitely not changing everything.
Again, price not really doing anything, mainly because obviously we've got the speech happening right now. And then we've got more speeches, 11 minutes. It takes over. Fred Williams, Arada then later on. And like I say, we're going to look at trading this oil news. Later on. But good success trading Schiller Homes, US Open, Chicago PMI, Consumer Confidence, all winners. No dramas on this one as of yet. I just want to see if there's going to be any movement on US30 with the speeches happening. Dow's 0.64 red, SP 332, NAS is just slightly positive. So no one's really breaking out again yet. Let's have a look at the NAS. The NAS there, look. Traded on this, here would have been all our buys. Easy. When you pick on, breaks out the zone by 1, goes into our over territory, buy 2, pulls back, comes back out again, there's buy 3, comes back again, comes out the zone, buy 4, comes back in, touches our overbought zone, 5. So there's 5 potential trades there on NAS 100. Again, 100 points, look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one of those worth about $50, so $250 there, you know, easy. I say sometimes easy, not always, you know, but just on this one. Yeah, time for coffee, I think. FTSE's down 22, CAC 30.37, DAX 0.35 again. Nothing amazing because they were all way down, so they've all pulled back a little bit. NAS now coming back. We could grab in for a sell here on NAS maybe if it crosses our average line. It's just a nice little rejection pullback while we're waiting on US30. Brilliant. We just flashed in and out there on NAS and we just got a win. We got 26. Waiting for one trade on that. We've got £26, which is about $40. There you go, just on that little price action. That's how quick, if you spot it, you can get in. Now if RSI goes red on here, we can get in some more. It's got to break down. See, our flat KG line's always the first line to take as your support or resistance and TP. Okay? You know you're going to get a rejection, some kind of rejection off this. The combination of the price action breaking this and our neutral line, hit points of interest and the zone is what's going to give us that trade.
Chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Everything the Republican Party stands against.
Everyone gets a right to basic health care. We need
See if this pushes down, fills that wick.
And a consumer advocate turned politician, Warren has branded herself as a champion of the working class and made a career out of standing up to big business. While rumors of a 2020 presidency bid remain just that,
I'm not running for president.
her Senate seat is up for re-election in 2018, and Republicans are already pumping millions into super PACs to defeat her. This is the story of how a law professor and politician came to be seen as the biggest threat to Republican values and the greatest hope for progressive America. Elizabeth Warren was born Elizabeth Ann Herron, the youngest of
now into the neutral zone. That's nice.
49 in Oklahoma City to middle-class parents. After waiting tables to help her family pay the bills, Warren became a star on the high school debate team. She landed a scholarship to George Washington University at the age of 16, but 2 years later dropped out to marry her high school sweetheart, Jim Warren. By 1980, Warren was a mother of 2, divorced and remarried, had earned a bachelor's degree from the University of Houston, a juris degree from Rutgers, and practicing law in New Jersey. Warren then went on
see if we get some red.
Law professor, teaching, lecturing, and publishing highly cited work on bankruptcy and commercial law at 7 universities around the country, eventually settling at Harvard Law School. But Warren wasn't always a liberal lion.
Elizabeth Warren used to be a Republican, actually.
That's Stephen Dennis.
I'm a Senate reporter for Bloomberg. Around the time that Elizabeth Warren switched parties, she became a fierce opponent of a Republican drive to make it much harder to file for bankruptcy. She fought that for a decade. It ended up passing anyways.
While her efforts ultimately failed, her warning call...
Yeah, I told you it's the support of our KG line, you see. Now you want to see if it breaks it. Or so it's come down. It has spent a lot of time in the green, a little bit of grey. Again, plenty of buys, so we're always looking to trade any kind of correction. This is the one we're just falling onto. Somebody just told me just have a quick look at it now, so had a quick look at it. If we get some kind of rejection down to our neutral line here.
And their bonuses and their practices.
Why should the U.S. taxpayer alone carry Citi?
US30 is also just dropping a little bit. Again, it's coming to the support zone.
For much of the Dodd-Frank financial law that we have today. That sort of catapulted her to national stardom, particularly among the progressive left.
Gold up and away. What a surprise, you see, always 1800. It's like a massive magnet, this 1800 zone. Back into 1800. That round over here, in the way, there we go. And we'll see if gold breaks. Get some sells on gold here. Might hold off, because look at RSI, just dip back in. Might be a buy, could be a buyback on gold, so hold on there. Don't jump in on any sells. You're well away from any kind of safety net on sells. It really could be a buy. Here we go. If it goes bright green, we're flashing in for buys. Chin back up, look. Let's watch price action on this.
In 2016, after staying silent during the Democratic primary battle, Warren finally endorsed.
Yeah, beautiful. Look at that.
And had some harsh words for candidate Trump.
Donald Trump is a loud, nasty, thin-skinned fraud who has never risked anything for anyone, and that is just one of the many reasons he will never be president of the United States.
But she was wrong.
She was wrong.
The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer.
Warren wasted no time resisting Trump's agenda.
Have you ever managed or overseen a $1 trillion loan program?
I have not.
How about a $1 billion loan program?
I have not.
In the Donald Trump era, Elizabeth Warren has been playing defense and trying to prevent Donald Trump and his cabinet appointees from rolling back protections that she helped enact.
Warren actually found herself rebuked by Mitch McConnell for reading a letter by Coretta Scott King about Jeff Sessions' record on racism during his confirmation.
She was warned. She was given an explanation. Nevertheless, she persisted.
That moment became something that's on t-shirts, bumper stickers, slogans, and that really galvanized a lot of support for her. It's been very hard for Republicans to get much of anything done this year, and that's at least in part to this resistance movement that Elizabeth Warren has helped champion.
We are here to fight back.
Enough of Elizabeth Warren. Like you,
millions of dollars are being funneled to defeat Warren in the midterm elections in 2018. But it's the rumors of a 2020 presidential bid that has further prompted powerful...
Beautiful rejection now, look out the zone.
Using the same playbook of
I'll just to wait and see what price action does.
Helped Trump win in 2016. It's anyone's guess if she will endure what Hillary could not.
You know, the question for Elizabeth Warren is whether she can go from being a liberal firebrand to somebody who can regularly get 60 votes for initiatives in the Senate.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a
What could affect Texas, the Dallas Fed. Result is out now, so what this will be.
Is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
If we get a push back into the zone for a buy, or crosses our average line for a sell. Easy, it's got to wait. It's got to wait, drink coffee. US30, if it breaks this zone, we're going to be in for a sell. Now's the same, we'll either sell if it goes below here or buy above here. So we're looking at three things. No positions open, we're just waiting. We've already done 32 trades, 34 trades. Now it's pushing nicely now. Ooh, gonna go bright, didn't. And we're looking for, look at the range it was in, massive big range for such a long period of time. News comes out, up she goes, retest, back up again, retest, back up again. And then we're just going to look for, yeah, we're going to look for the pullback. We're going to look for this retest of our neutral support zone here and our trend line. Once the trend line's broken, we know we're no longer in a bullish market, we're going to be in a bear market. Gold, beautiful drop. Bounce off our points of interest, so we're just going to hold, so not taking any sales until we get some red. We want red to come out of the zone, then we're selling. Just rechanging the markets. We're just holding here. I'm just going to go and grab a coffee while we stick on these last few setups, see if anything comes off. One sec.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, has made some powerful opponents.
He doesn't know me, never met me, doesn't know what I'm all about. I think they're very rude statements, and frankly, tell him I will remember those statements.
My message to Donald Trump and his team is that, you know, your views of Islam are ignorant.
He's the first Muslim mayor of a major Western capital and proud of it. This is how Sadiq Khan went from the son of Pakistani immigrants to a lawyer, lawmaker, and now the mayor of London. Khan's parents emigrated from Pakistan. His father was a bus driver, his mother a stay-at-home seamstress. The 10-strong Khan family squeezed into a 3-bedroom flat in South London. He wanted to be a dentist, but TV in the 1980s convinced him otherwise.
Objection!
LA law with its swagger and ill-fitting suits caught Khan's eye. He graduated in 1991 with a degree in law from North London University and joined a human rights firm. Khan worked a number of high-profile cases, often clashing with London's Metropolitan Police Force. But he had bigger political ambitions.
This is what being a new MP is like, squatting on a bench in the absence of an office, dealing with letters from constituents.
Reports are just coming in of an explosion here in London.
And there's just explosions, and then it was just smoke everywhere.
Everyone's just asking what's happened.
Only 2 months after Khan entered the Commons as a Member of Parliament, London was attacked by Islamist extremists.
That day will stay with me for the rest of my life.
He spoke out against the attacks both as a London MP and as a Muslim.
He has been very clear about his opposition to violence, opposition to terrorism, and has set out to make the case for a more open and peaceful Islam.
That's Thomas Penny, one of Bloomberg's Westminster correspondents.
Here is a man who is a Muslim, and he is standing up and being open and straightforward and being clear that the problem here is not Islam, but it's Islamic extremism.
In 2015, a decade after the attacks, Khan ran for Mayor of London, and his faith was back in the headlines. His opponent, Zach Goldsmith, trying to link Khan to radical Islam.
The debate got again personal and nasty. The Goldsmith camp has called Khan extreme and accused him of associating with, quote, those who seek to do our police and capital harm.
It's a pattern of behaviour.
Even the former Prime Minister David Cameron repeated the allegations.
He shared a platform with Sajil Shahid, the man who trained the ringleader of the 7/7 attacks and accused the United States of bringing 9/11 on themselves.
But the smears didn't stick.
Zach Goldsmith ran a very negative campaign that was based on what people knew was a lie.
This election was not without controversy. And I'm so proud that London has today chosen hope over fear and unity over division.
After taking the mayor's office...
Right, Scalpers, we're back. Ooh. Bowl of nachos with cheese and coffee. That'll keep me going. Well, we're still staying live. Look at that drop on gold. Was that not amazing or amazing? That's fed.
I was talking to a very senior police officer in the Metropolitan Police.
How amazing was that? Look at that drop.
City Hall.
Post that.
The police were saying how much they welcomed this because they knew where they stood, and it was more straightforward to work. So he works like a lawyer, he works like a government minister.
That's amazing. And what did we get on that? US Tech as well. Dropped. Beautiful.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
By giving the impression that Islam and the
So Red wins
were playing into the hands of the extremists.
The ongoing
on Nas.
US President Donald Trump escalated when Trump went after Khan, is quoting him on Twitter just hours after the terrorist attacks of June 3rd, 2017.
US30.
One of the most prominent Labour politicians in the UK.
So I just set a stop loss while I was out there, so I was just waiting to see.
Keep the country safe from terrorism, then the Prime Minister.
What was it? 35, 36. That's where we go. Yeah, 4 trades there.
Son of an immigrant bus driver to the mayor of one of the greatest cities in the world, plays well with Londoners. But can he appeal to the rest?
Instead of working alone, Don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Nas, exactly as I said. All that buying power, correction. Here's your entry point for your sell. Either aggressive as it goes red or wait till it just pops out the zone lock. Whichever way, we're in with a win. And 100 points is all I'm after. We've actually got we got $135 on that. That was a 51 and a 52 trades on the drop, and we got a 47 and 46 on US30 as well. So pretty good. So that's, I'm done with the NAS. I don't trade it too much because it can be, well, as we know, one of the most volatile things. But when you see it going in one particular direction, and we've got this system here, I just wait for the opposite. Okay, I've got a re-entry on the buy here, but the sell is what we were looking for, and we just had to wait, and there it was. Beautiful. That's NAS done. DAX the same ranging now as you'd expect. It's getting on for 4 PM here in UK, so 10:40 in the morning in US. So as you can see, just a little bit of a lift, but got into a range really now. Alright, let's have a look what gold's doing. Gonna wait obviously for a re-entry on a sell here or on a buy. Again, there was your entry point. As soon as the RSI broke the zone, get in. Just so easy to follow. You just gotta wait. Don't jump in. And this is all Fed talking.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
What does it take to change the world? A big army? A cure to a pandemic? A revolution? All of these take either a lot of people, thousands of hours, or massive amounts of space. But for Julian Assange, all he needs is one room, an internet connection, and the world will listen. Assange is located here, and more specifically, right here. And from that location, he's posted government secrets, classified documents, and leaked emails from some of the world's most powerful people. And in doing so, has been labeled a hero, a villain, a nihilist.
Looking for some cells on US30 to answer
This
you
is
now.
how an Australian program sequestered in the Ecuadorian embassy in London became one of the most influential and notorious people in the world. Born in 1971 in Townsville, Australia, Assange has always been on the move. Living in over 30 homes by the time he was in his mid-teens, Assange, along with his mother and half-brother, finally settled down in Melbourne. His introduction to hacking started at 16 when he was given a Commodore 64, which he attached to a modem. He attended the University of Melbourne, where he studied programming, physics, and mathematics. He never graduated, but that doesn't mean he didn't get an education. By 1991, Assange hacked into the Pentagon, US Navy, and other branches of the US government. In 1996, he was caught by the Australian Federal Police and charged with over 30 counts of hacking and computer-related crimes. He didn't get any jail time, but he was fined $2,100.
I think the first taste of what would come later was hacking as a young programmer, and that really sort of foreshadowed a healthy skepticism of the use and abuse of technology by governments.
That's Vernon Silver.
I'm a reporter for Bloomberg's investigations team.
Assange's youth as a hacker laid the foundation for him to start WikiLeaks in 2006. But what is WikiLeaks? It's a website that posts unfiltered, usually classified documents. What separates it from every other media outlet is that they have no editorial hierarchy. With a publication like the New York Times, information comes in, they take that information, package it, then disseminate it for the public to see. WikiLeaks, however, cuts out the middleman.
WikiLeaks gathers information mostly given to them anonymously, so what they're doing is
Hold. Get ready, see if it's going to drop.
He gives it to them and out the other with some minimal interference. Julian Assange is the leader of that, the mastermind, the creator, and really, because he thinks of it as a journalistic enterprise, the editor-in-chief.
But every story starts with a source, and Assange has some unconventional sources.
Julian Assange does not hack as far as we know. He is the recipient of people who are either insiders who give him secret documents or hacked emails from a foreign power.
That's Eli Lilly.
I am a columnist for Bloomberg.
And there was no source bigger for Assange than Chelsea Manning. He used to be known as U.S. soldier Bradley Manning. In 2010, Manning provided Assange and WikiLeaks with hundreds of thousands of leaked government documents. WikiLeaks quietly began releasing the documents in February of 2010, then made big headlines in April by posting what is now known as the collateral murder video.
It was a vivid, graphic video. It changed the debate on the Iraq War, and importantly, it put WikiLeaks on the map when they put it online, and they couldn't be ignored at that point.
And those leaks were just the beginning. They went on to post more than 90,000 leaked documents known as the Afghan war logs, 390,000 documents known as the Iraq war logs, and 250,000 private messages between diplomats called cables in what is now known as Cablegate. These leaks were met with very real ethical questions.
The problem with publishing those cables was that a number of confidential sources for U.S. diplomats who faced real danger when their names were exposed.
Then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton drove the point home that
every country, including the United States, must be able to have candid conversations about the people and nations with whom they deal.
Shortly after Cablegate, the Swedish government issued an arrest warrant for Assange on allegations of rape and molestation. He claimed the allegations were fabricated to get him extradited to the United States, a claim the U.S. government denied. Either way, Assange's next move was
to seek refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy, which really was the beginning of the new chapter in his life and what we're dealing with now, which is him being stuck in London.
What was supposed to be an office in an embassy is now Assange's self-imposed prison to this very day. But that doesn't mean he's slowed down. Since being trapped at the embassy, WikiLeaks has released files about Guantanamo Bay prisoners, Syrian political figures, and the draft to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And then came the 2016 U.S. election.
Thousands of leaked emails showed Democratic Party officials possibly plotting against Bernie Sanders in his race against Hillary Clinton.
Over the course of 68 days, WikiLeaks released 20,000 confidential Democratic National Committee emails. In terms of the presidential race, if you look right here, when Assange released the first batch of emails, Trump actually takes his first lead against Clinton.
I think we've had enough of the Clintons in all fairness.
Once WikiLeaks started exposing secrets of the Democratic Party, Julian Assange became a hero to many on the right. Public opinion kind of flip-flopped.
WikiLeaks.
From the emails, we now know Hillary Clinton's campaign manager makes risotto, and also how the DNC squashed Bernie Sanders' campaign. One thing we don't know is who gave Assange the stolen emails in the first place.
Many leading Democrats say they suspect it was the Russians. They released an analysis from
God, it's got a long way to pull back up. It's just starting now, SI33. Again, we'd look to take some buys if our zones are broke here. Little scalp between here and here, and then a scalp between here and here, break our trend line here and here. So there's potentials here, but I'm more interested in US30 at the moment. Yeah, here we go. I said we were looking for a correction on US30, a decent sell. Here we go. This is what I've been waiting for. It's more like it.
As long as Assange has a connection to the world, no government secret will be too far from exposure.
Julian Assange is still in the embassy.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters.
Yeah, and we're done.
SABIC.
What do we get? 23 and 16. So we got another 40, another 50. We got another $75 there. Just on that sell. US30 in and out while I was talking to you and drinking my coffee. That spike, beautiful. We caught that very nicely indeed. That's all we're doing. We're not holding too long where we can avoid holding. Of course, sometimes you have to, but most of the time we're trying to flash in and out. As soon as I saw the RSI look break that zone, I was in. And we're out. Another nice little win. See if we got any more on this. Grey. See if it breaks this, wicks this down here would be nice. Push a little bit on down, a bit more for us. Wants to be, yeah, 35. Look, you can see our flat average line here, 35, 32 on the RSI would do us. Watch that. Bit of a rejection, so if it breaks our points of interest, then we're coming on down to our breakout line. This is where we want now, setting our TP for a sell, our breakout line. But the flat KG line number one here, look where it's rejecting, and then you've got the breakout line here. So this is what we're looking for. And we'll keep watching. Here we go, it's pushing down. 38, 38. Yes, we're done. Oh, beautiful. Another two nice scalps there. What do we get? 37 and 43. Another $100. While you're munching nachos and having a coffee. Life doesn't get much better.
But the reason it's being called revolutionary is because 5G will allow connected devices to speak to each other as well as people.
Right now we're living in a world where really it's a one-way experience.
That's Bloomberg tech reporter Ian King.
The network talks to your phone, you look at your phone and access data, then you send...
Hit that TP, look at that. Perfect.
About 5G is that really for the first time we're going to see machines communicating with each other on mobile devices in a meaningful way.
5G would end up being 100 times faster than what we have now, with speeds that could reach 20 gigabits per second. In plain English, that means downloading a full-length HD movie in seconds. 5G will also increase the bandwidth, which we will need in order to...
So well happy with that.
We're talking about the class of devices like internet-connected refrigerators, thermostats, dog collars, but 5G will enable many, many more.
Things like your utility network factories, where machines are just sat there not connected at all. Suddenly they're all going to be connected. Suddenly we're going to be able to have real-time monitoring. Other things like cars, like utility poles, like your light, you know, the light poles.
But perhaps the biggest advance will be a huge reduction in communication lag time, known as latency, A network of driverless cars will need the speed of 5G to ping each other multiple times per second to avoid collisions. Near instantaneous data transfers could allow doctors to perform surgery remotely with a robotic scalpel. So how will all this work? First, you need to improve network density.
And that's just a fancy word for saying you put more towers out there. What we're being told is that's not actually the case with 5G.
The idea is 5G will not only use the existing mobile spectrum, but also tap into higher frequencies called millimeter waves. Millimeter waves can carry more data, but only travel short distances. This may mean you'll see a lot more of these base stations around town. And the new towers may have as many as 100 antenna ports, compared to about a dozen on 4G cell towers. So when will we get...
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC. Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Think of capital P power, and that's exactly the impression he created.
Beautiful, look at that, look at the cells coming, and we'll get another cell in on here. We'll go again if we break our 25 zone, of course. We all know that, you guys all know that.
Or political power, ruling his own country with an iron fist, crushing his political opposition, or, most recently, being accused of meddling in
Gold, raging down, beautiful.
This is how Vladimir Putin went from a poor, tough kid in Leningrad to a KGB spy.
Re-entry for a sell, I missed it. I don't catch every trade, like I say, but that was a re-entry. Look at that. Now waiting for the pullback. Nice. Kind of weirded at M, but now obviously we know what we're looking for. We're looking for the W pattern. Let's clear all these out. Let's clear these charts up. Let's clear the chart up a little bit. And let's put in what we're looking for. Where's our next? Here's our heavy supports if we zoom out. So
when Putin returned to Russia, he began his political career.
we're looking for a pullback to here or here. Breakout zone is always good. Area, retest. And then we're going to get back to we want to get back to 1800.
So loyal and efficient that
he was noticed by Yeltsin's close circle.
And those people soon brought Putin over to Moscow to work in Yeltsin's administration, where he quickly climbed the political ladder.
Then, of course, he was promoted to Prime Minister of Russia.
That's Dmitry Trump.
I am currently the director of the Carnegie Moscow Center.
Around this time, Yeltsin and the people around him, the so-called family, decided that Putin would become Yeltsin's successor. And then this happened. The apartment bombings were carried out in 3 Russian cities, killing 2...
Gonna drop some more yet, RSI. It's gonna push down. You got a chance to get another sell off here probably. 76 points.
He was credited as having a very successful military campaign.
Really gapped out, beautiful.
And it worked.
After that, he became an heir apparent in the eyes of the Russian people.
3 months later, Yeltsin resigned, and on his way out, a famous exchange.
He was getting into the car in the Kremlin, and the last words that he addressed to Putin before getting into his car was, "Take good care of Russia."
So Putin took over as president, and 3 months after that, won his first election. But just because Putin won the presidency, that didn't mean he had all the power. This is Michael McFall.
I was U.S. ambassador from 2000.
Ah, brilliant. We flashed in there for another £25, another $30. So just true marker scalping, not really holding because we're dealing with a centre part of a W here, but that's just to show you how powerful this system is.
Thinking that they could easily find a way to influence him, it became impossible almost from the start. From that very moment, there was warfare between him and the oligarchs.
That's when Putin gave the oligarchs a choice. Putin's way?
Some of those people from the 90s managed to figure out a new way of dealing with Putin and have survived.
Or prison.
Others could not find common vision, and so they lost their assets.
Khodorkovsky once was Russia's richest person, worth $15 billion. He ran afoul of President Vladimir Putin and spent a decade in prison.
With domestic power consolidated, Putin focused on restoring Russia's global influence.
Putin is the guy who believes in the expansionist Russian state. Georgia and Ukraine and all the other Soviet republics that split off when the Soviet Union fell apart, he still believes that they're traditional Russian satellites. A lot of his strategy is about keeping them in the orbit. That Yeltsin line, take good care of Russia, that's how he understands it.
And he used annexation and invasion, as well as oil, gas, and trade to keep former Soviet republics in Russia's orbit. In 2008, Putin's 2 terms were up, and he decided to step down as president. Dmitry Medvedev stepped in as president, and Putin went back to prime minister. But really,
Putin never left power. He pretty much continued running the country, and Medvedev was a bit of a figurehead.
There was actually a period of cooperation between Russia and the US that benefited both countries during Medvedev's presidency.
Because Medvedev did not have the same negative attitude towards the West as Putin did.
But when Putin came back to run for a 3rd term, in the lead up to the 2012 election, it was widely believed that both the presidential and parliamentary elections were rigged, and Russians took to the streets. Putin blamed the protests squarely on America, and more specifically, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
He believed that she had sent, and this is his words, a signal to demonstrators.
Still, Putin won by a huge margin and set about crushing the protest movement immediately upon his return to the Kremlin. Over the next few years, Russia's economy tumbled. Putin annexed Crimea, leading to sanctions. The price of oil fell drastically. The ruble hit a new low, and America played down Russia's influence, with Obama calling Russia
a regional power.
Despite all of that, Putin's approval rating remained sky high, and then an opportunity for payback.
I think I'd get along very well with Vladimir Putin.
In 2016, there was one candidate who called Vladimir Putin very smart.
Trump exhibited tolerance towards Putin's actions annexing Crimea, and similar views on NATO and sanctions.
Secretary Clinton didn't support any of those views.
Even though Putin denies any wrongdoing,
U.S. elections.
Yes.
The U.S. has accused Russia of being behind the leaking of 20,000 Democratic National Committee emails.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC. Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Business tycoon. He's the chairman of Alibaba, China's e-commerce giant and one of the 10 largest companies in the world. Yet he still wants more.
We know where we're going. We want to be the 5th largest economy.
Big words from the man some call Asia's Jeff Bezos. He's confident, he's charismatic, and he's definitely not the average CEO. This is how a poor school teacher went from the classroom to being one of the most influential multi-billionaires in the world. Ma was born in China's southeastern city Hangzhou in 1964. His parents were traditional musician storytellers. As a teenager, he started to learn English from foreign tourists after China opened up in the late 1970s.
And then for 9 years, Jack Ma hung around outside the Hangzhou Hotel, which is now called the Shangri-La. He would get up at 5 a.m. to talk to travelers.
That's Bloomberg technology reporter Liu Chen.
And I cover China Internet for Bloomberg.
Ma failed China's National University entrance exam twice before being admitted to local teachers' college. He graduated in 1988. He applied for 30 jobs and got rejected, including from the fast food giant KFC.
When KFC came to China, capital say, 24 people went for the job. 23 people accepted. I was the only one guy.
Then Ma got a job at a local university and taught English there for about 5 years, earning just $15 a month. On the side, he started a translation company with several friends. During a company trip to the US in 1995, Ma had his first encounter with the internet at a friend's place in Seattle.
I searched the first word beer. I don't know why, because it's easy to spell, baby. And I see beers from Germany, beers from USA, beers from Japan, but there's no beer from China.
So he searched for the word China instead and still couldn't find anything. And that got him thinking. He wanted to build something that would put China on the world's map.
He started China
Next Thursday.
a Yellow Pages-like
This
website
Thursday.
that didn't take off. Then Ma joined a government agency in Beijing to help set up a website. By 1999, the internet stock boom had gripped Wall Street, and back in his Hangzhou apartment, Ma decided to try again. With his wife and a group of friends, Ma raised $80,000 and set up Alibaba, a site that allowed businesses to sell stuff to each other. By 2000, Alibaba had raised $25 million from investors, including Goldman Sachs and SoftBank. He had no business plan and zero revenue, but his eyes was very strong eyes. In 2003, Alibaba started Taobao, a platform for individual sellers to trade with each other, and publicly declared war against eBay, who had started to make a foray into China.
Jack Ma has this famous saying that Alibaba is a crocodile in the Yangtze River, whereas eBay is a shark in the ocean. And if they fight eBay in the ocean, then they'll lose. But if they fight them in the Yangtze River, then they have a home base advantage.
In 2007, just 1 year after it forced eBay out of China, Alibaba debuted its business-facing division on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. But
Get ready for the little pullbacks.
its performance sagged. But in 2014, Alibaba raised $25 billion in the world's biggest IPO in New York.
Everybody should have a dream. What if that dream comes true?
After achieving dominance in the business of e-commerce
Brilliant.
in China,
In and out. What do we get? 8 and 42. Another £50 on that.
$72 billion, with
When will it
businesses
never
in
end?
computing, online video streaming, movie production, healthcare, sports, retail, and even news media.
Alibaba buying into South China Morning Post really raised eyebrows. This is the largest English newspaper in Hong Kong, and it shows that Jack Ma's ambitions weren't limited to e-commerce. He wanted to influence not just Chinese users, but also overseas users as well.
The US has criticized Alibaba for allowing companies to sell counterfeit and poorly made goods, but in China, it enjoys the favor of China's government. It's part of Ma's company philosophy.
In love with the government, but don't marry with them.
Jack Ma's an extremely fortunate man for jumping on the internet sector so early. Note that this is a person who has no coding skills at all.
Beautiful pullback from that drop. Look at that.
And a gifted
And right on our
really able to
neutral support line. So we're looking to form this W pattern and for it to come back and touch our trend line at about 1800. And this is our goal. RSI is beautiful. You can have a, well, we got a sell here, 1, 2, 3, and now we grabbed a little cheeky buy, and now we're going to wait price action to tell us to get in another buy breaking here, 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 or here. We'll look for 200 points, I reckon, on each one of these. I'll give it time to pull back. Bigger account, the more you can hold, the more you can get in earlier. Obviously, for a smaller account, you've got to be a bit more sniper precise on your entries. That's the advantage of having a bigger account, really. I don't trade bigger lot sizes or anything like that. I trade the same lot sizes. I look for the same amount of profit per trade. It just means that you can possibly get in a bit earlier and hold trades a bit longer with a bigger account, obviously, because you can accept the drawdown. So you can see price action here, look, just squeezed up a little bit. So either we're going to get a break further down to the neutral support, or we're going to get a nice cheeky little buy back up here. And like I say, 200 points would be good. Easy achievable. Look, there's 350 on the table there, even with the spreads, that's still 300. So we'll just wait and see. We'll just watch this while we're still staying live here. It's 4:15 in the afternoon here, nice and dark in London now. 11:15 AM New York. So we're looking to hold some buys on gold.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Peter Thiel is a walking contradiction. He got his bachelor's and Juris Doctorate from Stanford, but speaks out about the horrors of higher education, saying college is
as corrupt as the Catholic Church was 500 years ago.
He's a staunch supporter of the free press, yet he bankrolled a lawsuit to bankrupt an independent media company.
But these were not journalists.
And most of all, he's an immigrant libertarian who's the most public supporter of Donald Trump in all of Silicon Valley.
What Trump represents isn't crazy, and it's not going away.
This is the story of how an openly gay, immigrant genius, libertarian billionaire went from tech contrarian to Silicon Valley's biggest Trump supporter. Peter Thiel was born on October 11, 1967 in Frankfurt, West Germany, to Suzanne and Klaus Thiel. Peter's family emigrated to Cleveland, Ohio when he was 1. An Ayn Rand devotee during his youth, Thiel attended Stanford University majoring in philosophy.
His Stanford experience shaped a really big part of who he decided to surround himself with.
That's Lizette Chapman.
And I cover technology and venture capital here at Bloomberg.
He and his Stanford friends made their first big splash in tech with PayPal. After selling to eBay for $1.5 billion, they would become known as the PayPal Mafia for each incredible success after PayPal. For Thiel, that began with an early, modest $500,000 investment in Facebook.
And in VC speak, early means big risk, but also big reward. He turned that initial $500,000 investment into more than $1 billion in cash.
But Thiel was just getting started with Facebook, and he went on to make a whole bunch of wildly successful investments.
From SpaceX to Airbnb to one of the largest, most powerful companies in the United States, if not the world, and of course that's Palantir.
The incredibly controversial secret of data mining started from PayPal. It connects data silos and then allows non-technical people to search that information for patterns. Data like
financial information, feeds from video cameras, biometric details, passport information, flight manifest.
Palantir doesn't talk much about how they collect this data, who has access to it, or what they do with it. But they have contracts with
the Department of Homeland Security and the CIA and the Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commission
and several other federal agencies. It's the richest company you've never heard of, valued at $20 billion. There are plenty of obscenely wealthy people in Silicon Valley. What makes it
sorry about that, right?
a complex ball of multiple contradictions.
Take college, for example. Even though college was extremely important for Thiel, there's something called the Thiel Fellowship.
In exchange for dropping out and a promise not to pursue college, Thiel would give them $100,000 each.
You basically tell people that if you get a diploma, you're saved. Otherwise you go to hell. You go to Yale or you go to jail.
Also, his relationship with the press.
Here's another contradiction. He's donated to free press initiatives, including the Committee to Protect Journalists.
But he also secretly spent tens of millions of dollars bankrolling a lawsuit filed by Hulk Hogan over the publication of
Back him on set, he's going to grab another drink.
Run Gawker Media. Why did he do this? Because in 2007, one of Gawker Media's blogs, Valleywag, outed him as gay. And with the lawsuit, he
found an opportunity to get back at them by funding the lawsuit that Hulk Hogan was able to bring then, but he wouldn't have been able to do that without Thiel's money.
And finally, Thiel's biggest contradiction, his endorsement of Donald Trump.
When he was asked about his support for Trump, he was surprised at the outrage that came with it from many of his colleagues in Silicon Valley. He didn't want more of the establishment.
No matter how crazy this election seems, it is less crazy than the condition of our country.
After briefly supporting Carly Fiorina in the primaries, Thiel pivoted to Trump, donating $1.25 million to Trump and his associated super PACs in October 2016. And he didn't just help Trump financially. He gave a full-throated keynote speech supporting Trump at the Republican National Convention.
I'm not a politician, but neither is Donald Trump. He is a builder, and it's time to rebuild America.
And when Trump was finally elected, Thiel was given the reins to an enormous amount of power.
And I want to thank you, man. You have a very special guy.
He was named the transitional advisor. And in that role, he did a lot of interviewing and a lot of vetting to fill hundreds of cabinet positions and different jobs within the administration.
But it turns out, Thiel's support isn't unconditional.
Talking to people who spend time with him, I have also heard that he is no longer a great supporter of Trump.
It was reported that Thiel was unhappy with the direction of Trump's presidency. Ever since, he's been mum, making no public appearances, no statements, and staying out of the spotlight altogether. Although there have been suggestions that Trump could tap Thiel for a top intelligence post or ambassadorship, there's no indication he'd accept.
We're back, nice another drink.
He gets really involved, and then he runs.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, We believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Gold ranging, so we're still holding, still waiting for the buys. Panic. Well, it's good to watch live, see how it moves on this time frame for those of you who've never traded a 3-minute time frame before. Wait for the RSI to poke up out of that zone. It's going to drop a little bit, it's going to range a little bit, doesn't matter. I can see the pattern we're waiting for on here.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Was again the hottest year on record, and the previous 17 years have seen our 16 most scorching. Scientists overwhelmingly agree. Global warming is the culprit. And it's just getting started. Ice caps, extreme weather, wildfires, droughts, and the hits keep coming. What are we doing about it? In 2015, the world took its boldest step yet to stem climate change with a historic accord in Paris. But now comes the hard part. Nations must change energy policies and invest huge amounts of money. And they will
Nice little price action.
President Donald Trump announced on June 1st that the U.S. would withdraw from the accord.
The reality is that withdrawing is...
There we go, here's the neutral support, the blue zone's formed, nice, is what we want to see. So gold's got to break this zone here for us to take a sell down to the next level, which we would do, even though we're looking for buys on the bigger picture. On the small time, we'll go in with price action. So if this breaks, we'll take a sell and we'll grab $100 and come back up again. You know, we'll get this on the break now. We just got to redraw the pattern. This is what we ideally want. This isn't going to shoot straight back up. You know, it's going to take a while, like each one of these. You know, it's like a couple of hours, but gold wants to get back to 1800. 22's got to pop out. We'll be in profit by here. We'll be out the zone by here. At the moment, we're 68% to the downside, so we'll just wait on this. Again, we're live, so Stick on gold.
rules and directives put in place to combat climate change, and expands production of coal, the dirtiest fossil fuel. The resulting policies threaten the global fight against climate change. Without the U.S. commitment to emissions reduction, other countries may join it in abandoning the Paris Agreement. This could make it almost impossible and even more expensive down the line to stop climate change. Optimists argue that the shift to a lower carbon future is already underway. Businesses, cities,
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At
Chill with a bit of music while we're waiting on gold, watching this here. Potential TP1 of here, look. We now break out back into our breakout zone in the trend line. We'll set that as a TP1. And we've got the oil coming up later on as well to trade. There's our TP2 we're looking for. If this breaks down lower, obviously we'll take a sell. Oh, we'll be back in a minute, we'll keep watching. Hi everyone, we're still live and we're still watching and waiting to see if we're going to get any kind of movement on gold. Check in with Bloomberg. We've been streaming 2.5 hours now. Been going well, so we've done about 45 trades. We really wanted us a nice buy on gold. See if we get some cover. It's still in a decline. Plenty of re-entries here. Got a support zone coming up. But again, just a nice wait as the markets are obviously a bit slower. Pull this chart. They need to jump in. You could jump in for a sell, but we're right on our breakout zone here, you see. So we really want to be. If it was in a sell, this is where I would be ending it. You know, I've taken the sells. I'm just looking for some pullback, some correction, some buys.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC.
Because a machine can't get 30 years worth of wheel building experience. Colour is very, very personal. With any of our bikes, you can have them painted whatever colour you want. We've matched one to a teapot, so we can get that scanned and we can match that, or someone's favourite item of clothing. I like to let the bike sit for 4 or 5 days minimum, just so the paint can have time to cure a little bit, and then we assemble it. We get out all the new components, and it's a case of putting them together. Some bikes you can assemble in 3 hours, some will take 3 days. And we've built bikes that cost in the £10,000 plus mark. Some people, they're saving up and this is their bike and they're going to own it for the rest of their lives. So we just want to make sure they get the right thing. I think the bike for me was the first time I had some freedom. So as soon as I had one, I was off. A lot of people still get that thrill as when they were a kid blasting down a hill, wind going through their hair. It's fun. Everyone has their favourite jacket or something. It just makes them feel good. If you've got a bike that fits well, you actually feel part of it. Building bicycles as a creative outlet is fantastic. It's not something you do because you're going to get a big paycheck at the end of the day. You do it something you have a passion for it.
If you ever saw a wooden surfboard, it was probably hanging in somebody's house or underneath the deck. But kind of in the last 10 or 15 years, wood has made a big comeback. They surf wonderfully. It's beautiful and it feels great to be on one of them. I always had a love for wood and kind of passionate about things that went in the water. I've kind of been around wooden boats most of my life. There's just so much character. The way they're built, the stories that come with them, a lot of that has translated over to why we build surfboards the way we do. When we first started thinking about building surfboards, wood was the natural material we chose. They have a very high strength to weight ratio. Wooden surfboards have the longest history of use in the surf world than any other material. People have been surfing wooden surfboards since kind of the first documented history of people riding waves. The board starts in CAD, where we take a 3D model, break down the shape, and kind of create frames and templates and all the inner parts of the board that we get cut on a CNC machine. We take those frames and we just pop them out, assemble the frame into kind of a skeleton. We go out to our lumber shed, pick a bunch of cedar, and bring them into our mill shop, put glue along the edges, clamp it all together into a panel. Everything's book matched, you have symmetry in the colors and texture of the wood. Cut your outline. Take our assembled frame, gently put it down right on top of the plank. Once that foundation is started, you're basically building up the three-dimensional shape, the outside part of the board, using lots of strips that kind of interlock and fit together. Every piece of wood is going to be different, and it's all going to react differently. There are frustrations with it, but I think that's one of the things that keeps it challenging. You learn to read the kind of what the grain lines are doing and what the color of the wood is telling you. Once those rails are cleaned up, we put our top planks on. It's a little bit like putting a lid on a box. It's like, this is it. Whatever's inside that board is staying inside that board. And by tensioning some rope, you can clamp the two together. It's like a time capsule. What makes our boards unique are they are built right here in York. They're built using material that grows right here in the state of Maine. They're built 100% by hand by local craftspeople and surfers. There's a lot of time that goes into these boards, between 40 and 60 hours, start to finish. We wanted to build surfboards that were as hollow as they could be, but still be strong enough to work well. Too light and they don't surf well, but too heavy and they don't surf well. So there's a balance point there, and that's where we try to be. Taking the board off the rocker table once the top has gone on, that is by far one of my top favorite parts. It's just you and a shaping stand, a board, and a hand plane. Everything else is out of your view. It's simple, it's pleasurable, it's quiet. You can be with your thoughts and you can just kind of be present. There's something about taking a nice sharp edge tool to a beautiful piece of wood and feeling the curls coming off and knowing that every pass that you're making, you're kind of getting it closer and closer to what you have in mind. Once we've shaped it down and the board's looking like it's supposed to look like, time for it to go into the glassing room. 4-ounce fiberglass, laying it over the board, draping it over the edges, cutting it, applying epoxy, and on the board. Once both sides are lamb coated, it's time to put in the hardware. Drill and router and install the fin box. And on the other side, we drill and put in the leash plug and a vent. There's a lot of air just naturally inside the board, and that air wants to expand and contract with temperature changes. And that vent has a little piece of Gore-Tex fabric in it, and it allows air to kind of breathe both ways, but it doesn't allow water to get in. Once all that hardware is put in, it goes back into the glassing room. We brush a nice, beautiful, thick coat of epoxy over the whole surface, and that we call a gloss coat. That's supposed to look beautiful and glossy and shiny and flawless. You get to see that board come to life. Whatever the colors in the wood, they really come out. It just makes it look like candy. You just want to touch it and run your hands down it, and it's just kind of the icing on the cake. Once everything is hard, we put it into what we call the oven, get that epoxy to cure, really kind of bake it, and just get it to harden. Put in the fin, screw in the vent, and ship it out. We just love the idea of building something that's sustainable and long-lasting and made by hand. Kind of gives you a deeper connection to the product over something you might buy on a shelf. When a customer gets the board, they feel it. They 100% feel the amount of work and the amount of passion that went into the board. So I'm not really looking at hours and efficiency. We're looking at like doing it right and enjoying it as we go.
Instead of working alone, don't we have a better chance of solving all the world's biggest challenges when we work together? At SABIC, we believe the chemistry between people is the chemistry that matters. SABIC.
Ma Baoli, better known as Gang La, is one of the 4 Grand Marshals leading New York's Pride Parade this year. But in the country he comes from, being gay is still a social taboo. The CEO of a Beijing-based internet company is on a mission to improve the lives of millions of gay men in China.
对于每一个 LGBT 人群来说，即使这个国家不允许你跟同性爱人结婚，但是你仍然要勇敢地去选择你自己的生活，你仍然应该拥有幸福生活的权利。
Ma's company Blue City runs an app and a website specifically for gay men. Blued is one of the biggest gay social networking apps in the world, with an estimated 30 million registered users. Unlike most other apps, Blued is more than just dating or hookups.
大家可以在我们这个软件里面找他自己的情感，然后可以阅读相关的内容，然后可以进行一些娱乐，比如玩游戏啊，比如看直播啊等等。
Back in 2000, when Ma studied at a police school in northern China, he realized he didn't feel like everyone else.
因为他们都找女朋友然后谈恋爱，但是我对长得好看的同性的男生，我反而觉得对我更有吸引力，所以那个时候我就到互联网上去找这样的一些资料，然后希望能够告诉我自己我到底是谁。互联网上所有的信息都是负面的，都是错的，就是说同性恋要电击疗法，要被治疗，然后要吃药等等。
After visiting some foreign websites with different attitudes to homosexuality, Ma created his own site for a Chinese audience, encouraging people that
他们也是正常的，他们不用自卑，然后也不用自杀。
even though attitudes towards homosexuals are slowly changing in China, it's still a social stigma. The virtual world of Blued, where members can be open about their sexuality, is for most a striking contrast to their real lives. This is live streaming, a function added to Blued in late 2015, right as the internet craze was starting to take off in China. Many self-made stars like Jin make decent amounts of money by receiving audiences' virtual currencies and gifts.
我们不是彼此的初恋，初恋这种事儿多不靠谱啊。
For Kyle and Klaus, a couple who have come out, live streaming on Blued means something different.
其实我经常会收到很多粉丝的一些互动的留言，就是类似就是说你们让我们看到了同志情侣之间的一些希望啊，我看到这样的留言我是很欣慰。
The government's rules for acceptable content online may shift quickly in China, with LGBT material in a grey area. Many companies feel the chill of the recent internet crackdown, but Blue City still runs as usual. Ma has won the Chinese government's trust by helping with HIV prevention among gay men. A third of the company's staff are dedicated to screening pornographic and politically sensitive content.
我不太多的愿意去对抗，我更多的愿意去对话，去改变他们的想法。我觉得这个可能在中国来说是更有效的。
In the past 5 years, Blue City has grown from a team of 7 people to a promising business with about 250 staff. Ma said the company earned over $15 million.
Well, gold is now in a range, and again, we're waiting. We're sat on our support zone, as you can see. Price action is telling us that, you know, things might be going our way, and we're either going to wait for a re-entry here, a sell again at 25 zone, back down again. We're sat on our blue support zone, so ideally we just want to wait this out. This is again, I don't usually trade this time of day. This is just to show you, you know, even if you're on a 3-minute time frame, you have to wait for these setups to come your way. God's got a long way to push back up to that 1800. You know, $30 away at the moment. But I still think it's going to get there, especially probably in the Asian session as well. So we're just holding and waiting. So we're not in any positions because we're waiting for the trigger. Our trigger points is going to be RSI going green into the neutral, crossing our average, breaking out average. So 3 or 4 entry points along with where price action is sat in our grid as well. But this is the W pattern I'm looking to try and form. It hasn't formed that peak yet, so again I'm just going to redraw this, and this is what you have to do. Still, you know, you just got to redraw. Doesn't formed any kind of center leg yet. It's just been a complete sell off on gold until this RSI decides to come up. Then what we're looking at. Going to meet resistance here in the middle, so that's why I've set a TP1 there. This is for the sell, that's for the buy, and that's for the secondary buy as well. So this is the long-term picture on gold still. There's our trend line. You see it's sat over the trend line now. 27, we popped up a little bit. We have got a hidden bearish, so there's a continuation, 5 and then down, so we could get an extra sell again on this before the buy. So no buys yet. Right.
This is Rich Jigga. He's a Chinese rapper by way of Indonesia, and he's very popular on the internet. This is DOGE. He's a Japanese-Australian singer, and he
We've got another Fed speech in about 50 minutes. Fed Clarida, and then that's it until the oil. We're going to be doing the oil about 9:30. US30 up, also took a dive, so US30 and gold both correlating same way, which is rare. Does happen. All the news down, down, down. Look at oil. Again down as well, as you'd expect. Watching oil when it got in here and here. Well, that's the good thing about having an alert set up to your phone. Everything's selling. US30 dipping down. Look at that, beautiful. Going to enter into our zone. 25. Flash it in and out scalp if it is. Brilliant. But in there, yeah, we got £25 and $35 there. Two more nice cheeky sells on that RSI re-entry. Back to gold, just ranging around. RSI is now 35, so this is looking better. Gold's don't do anything yet, still waiting. And we can clear all this off the chart now and have a look at it. It's the decline of gold. Right down. We come back in on a re-entry on a sell. Oh, we'll wait to see if gold is going to be more sells on this. Like it's going to drop down a bit lower. A flash in, flash out. RSI has gone bright red. You see another re-enter. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. And then we're going to end the stream. We're doing 3 hours 20 minutes, so we'll be back to do another stream tomorrow. We'll just see how this plays out. On gold.
The stories that we sing, someone's waiting to be told. Acting encompasses the play. Watch the scenes we live unfold.
Trend line formed look beautiful.
It's in the stories that we see, like someone's waiting to be told. The act encompasses the blame. We watch the scenes we live unfold. If it's silent in dismay, it won't break this feeling down. If I conquer this my way, I'd devour, I'd surround. If it hurts you just a little, then it heals you when it's done. Disappointment is the anchor, resolution is the sun.
Away again, it's going to get a bounce off that neutral resistance. Down she goes. Retest, and then we should we'll be up back into our zone here. Well, depends on the upcoming news. Let's see.
If I conquer this my way. I'd devour, I'd surround. If it hurts you just a little, then it heals you when it's done. Disappointment is the anchor, resolution is the sun.
Well, we're going to say markets have come to a bit of a standstill. There's no more micro scalping at the moment. Got a little extra little buy on that US30 down here. That's now going to come back and form this W, hopefully. You can see on US30, it gets a bounce back, and like I say, there's no opposite correlation at the moment because of all this COVID news. So that's why everything's going the same direction as you'd expect. As I say, it's a time to trade more cautiously, lower your leverage sizes, and just be cautious about the overall news. So no buys on US30 until we get a breakup of our neutral zone, and same on gold here. Look, gonna might catch another little sell before we get the buy, so we'll just hang on and wait on that one as well. But thank you for joining me. We've had a good success. We've done over 45 trades so far, touch wood or green. Good day scalping. Now's the time zone where it just gets a little bit boring and we just got to wait and wait and wait. I'll be back to trade the news later on, the oil news at 9:30 my time. Like I say, if you want to get access to this system, you want to learn how to scalp like this through scalping, obviously go to the website www.mohawkforex.com. Get me as your mentor, join the VIP Discord group with the guys in there, all like to trade the same kind of way. So yep, until the next stream, time for my dinner, and we've had some good trades. So take care all, and catch you all on the next live stream, and click that like button. Thank you very much. Take care all.